The Denver Radio Real Estate Show. I'm Cheryl Garlock with Colorado Front Range Properties. I am so glad you could join us today. You know, this is a show all about residential real estate. So if you are thinking about buying a home or selling a home or an investor, and you definitely want to stay tuned today if you're thinking about being an investor here. We've got some good stuff for you to be thinking about here. But this is a show where you can get all your answers. And if we don't answer it for you on the show, you know what to do. Pick up that phone. Give me a call. 720-373-0654. 720-373-0654. And I invite you to hop online to denverrealty.com to search all the homes available. You'll actually be able to tap into, you know, the Realtor's Magic Bible, the MLS. Just click on the Search Homes tab, click and do your own home searches, and away you'll go. Lots of properties there to go ahead and select from. Now, speaking of properties, I have a buyer, Heidi, who is actually looking for, I need a little help in this one because, well, again, you know, you guys, I told you, we have low inventory, so I need somebody who wants to sell something. Or maybe you know a neighbor who wants to be selling or something like that. Heidi is looking for a home in the southwest Littleton, Roxborough area, say 3 or 4 bedrooms, 2 or 3 baths, with a 1 or 2 car garage, maybe in that $260 to $320 price range and around 2,200 plus square foot. You know, something a little light and bright, somewhat updated there. So if you've got something that you might be thinking about selling, you know what to do. Call me, 720-373-0654. I'd be happy to talk to you about that and see if I can't meet Heidi's needs. Now, my guest today is Steve Olson. Steve, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
And Steve is going to share with us a little bit of information about appraising. And you've had your company, Olson Appraisal Company, for about how many years?
Since about 1990.
Okay, so you have seen the market come and go.
Yes, we sure have.
Absolutely. And, you know, valuations are really important, particularly because we're in a changing environment. We've kind of been coming off the dumpers here. And last year, you know, things really started to pick up some steam here. And as the spring comes along, these are, by the way, some of the hot and heaviest listing months, you know, March and April, don't you think, Steve?
Oh, absolutely. And if last year was any indication, the market really started in January last year and went full bore right up until July 1st, and then it backed off from July through the fall. And this year could be very much just the same, that we have a very early season.
Right. And, you know, I like to see the real estate market kind of steadily increase in value instead of do those sharp hikes. You know, when you've been in the business for as many years as we have been in this industry, you'll find that sometimes markets will take a really sharp hike and then the letdown can come back again, and it can be long and furious, unfortunately. So we're having a steady rise, I think, in property valuations. Is that what you're seeing out there in the appraisal world?
It sure is. Last year was a little bit of the silly season that we saw prices go up so quickly in the spring last year, and then buyers got realistic and came back down to earth, and they weren't pressuring the prices as much as they were. And I see that that kind of trend staying through this spring too.
That's good. So let's talk about remodeling and updating, because again, the other thing that comes along with spring is everybody rushes off to Lowe's or Home Depot, you know, the do-it-yourself kind of stuff there. And we want to go ahead and think about what are some of the best kinds of improvements people can make into a property in order to get their homes ready for the market. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, there's certainly a number of very easy things to do to improve your home, to get it ready to show and to sell. And the simple things are, you know, put away all the clutter. You know, take one big piece of furniture out of every room so that the rooms look a little bit bigger. You know, make sure the carpets are clean. If the carpets need to be replaced, go ahead and replace them. Same with paint. The paint gets tired over time, and if you have a nice fresh coat of paint, it really makes a difference, and they're not too expensive things to do.
You know, it's interesting because I've been talking with my husband about doing this here too, because we're going to be selling our house here in a few years and downsizing when he retires. But we got some of that, you know, that work on the home that's been ignored, you know, for a while. And you know, I should know better, right? So okay, I'm coaching him. But anyway, we're trying to go ahead and do certain remodeling aspects, but you know, you don't know exactly what that next buyer is going to want per se. But I do think we're kind of tired of realtor beige, as I always call it there. But you want to do something where the home still looks fresh, is affordable, and it's going to still get people to want to come into the home and say, I love the area, I love the location, because that's the most important element. And then get them to go ahead and say, but we can change these things later.
Well, certainly, I think national statistics, and there's a great resource, Remodeling Magazine puts out a cost versus value table every year that addresses what improvements bring the most dollar in the resale market. And your kitchen and your bathrooms are the number one area, master bath and the kitchen. And you also have to take into consideration, the context your house is in and the market it's in. You don't want to over improve. So you want to bring your house up to the high condition of your neighborhood standard, not go overboard.
Right. I had one colleague of mine, I learned a lesson from her a long time ago, and that is every year do something new. Do something new to kind of freshen your house. And that makes it a little bit more controlled, a little bit more easy to keep pace with. Let's talk about square footage in homes and property valuations there. Tell us about how that impacts a difference.
Well, certainly square footage makes a difference in valuation. A lot of times there's a misunderstanding about the price per square foot. Price per square foot is a valuation technique in of itself, but square footage is only one attribute that contributes to valuation. So oftentimes we'll hear a seller say, well, my neighbor sold for $100 or $150 a square foot. I have 1,000 square feet, therefore my home is worth $150,000. That's not a very good way to go about valuing your home, because there are so many other components that contribute to value: the land, the location, all of the upgrades, the special features, garages, basements, etc., that go into that big number of price per square foot.
And when we're talking about price per square foot, Steve, don't we also need to kind of keep it separated as the square feet above the ground versus the basement? Because sometimes people get that mixed up and think it's the total square feet and the value there. Can you clarify that in the short time that we have left?
Yeah, certainly, absolutely. In the Denver market, we certainly have valuations for above grade square footage is different than finished basement square footage. Basement square footage in general is not going to bring much more than maybe a half or 3/4 of the value of finished above grade square footage, so you need to take that into consideration.
Absolutely. Gosh, there's a whole lot more we could talk with Steve about there. One really quick last thing, and that is on remodeling garages to make them living space. What's your quick idea on that?
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Not a good idea, not a good resale. People want those garages. Hey, we'll be right back with more from the Denver Radio Real Estate Show, and get your pen and paper ready because we got Property Showcase coming right up.